from Auckland. We have, what advice do you have for people who want to become furry visual novel narrators or beginning narrators? Much love to y'all. You are all very inspiring. Heart emoticon. Remember emoticons before emojis were a thing?
The answer is ask Blaidd, because he's the best narrator. Best narrator voice.
Well, under those parameters, Blaidd, you go first, as you've been nominated as being the best.
I would strongly disagree with that one, but we'll let it go for now so we can answer this. I think, first off, just practice on your own. Just go ahead, get a couple of friends on if you like, or just do it and just, find out the mistakes you're going to make, do them all out the way, get it done. But the main thing, find what you're comfortable with. Not just in the way of what stories you tell, but how you tell them. So a good example is, if you ever watch my videos, you notice I tend to just tell the story voice act. I don't add a lot of comments. I don't react much, apart from in a place to call home, because Fallen and I haven't read it and we're going through and discovering it. Which is a lot of fun to do, I have to say.
Oh, we're going through it. All right. That's a trip.
Yeah. And I know some of you deliberately say, no, I'm not going to read this. I want to find out what's going on. And I love getting those reactions from people. Something that I know what's going to come up. Okay, let's see what, say, Dirk makes of this. And I get the reaction from them. That's fun. But I'm not comfortable doing that so much. Some of the very early videos I actually break in and make a comment. I stopped doing it early because I don't like doing that myself. I prefer to keep going the story. So I do what I'm comfortable with. And other people, like adding commentary. And that's great. We get to know what you think of it rather than waiting till right at the end. And as you may have noticed, sometimes I don't even comment on anything. Just your story. I'm going to leave it there. But that's what I like to do. If you like to the commentary on there, go for it always. Do what you want and what makes you happy. And that's really it.
Great. If I had to add to that, those are all really good points. Another thing that was really good to do is reps, repetition with it. It doesn't have to be some sort of big thing. Like, you just can just start by just going at it. Like, even if you haven't like done any sort of like training or figuring it out yet, you can do that as you go along and just, start with a baseline to see, this is where I can change. This is what I got. And just, keep working from there. Because that's how I started. I thought, okay, here's my baseline of, I want to see what my voice can do, but how can I get it to be more engaging, more dynamic, all these other little big advanced things. But when I start, I just was like, go ahead, I'll just do it. And that's just the biggest thing, having the confidence to start when you do either a stream, video, whatever type of visual novel voicing over. We all just, started from the bottom of that. We just saw this stuff and we're like, let's take our hand at it. And that's the only way I could say of like getting a full feel of like the mastery over the art or whatever. And, everything else will come around that. So that's what I'd say for reps. Shoot, I might have to get back to the other thought because I got so enwrapped in that thought. But yes, that is my big one. Repetition.
I'd like to jump in here and I'd like to say first, set no expectations. Not no expectations. Because I've heard too many people get started and they're like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it to some 10,000 subscribers or whatever, and because I watch this person and they get so many views, so I want to do this and whatever. And then they're like, why aren't I getting the views, or why aren't I doing this, or why am I not reaching whatever fucking benchmark I've arbitrarily set that defines my idea of success? And I'm like, bro, one thing's first. you just started. I've been making video in a week. I'm in a month and a week, aka when 2023 starts. I will have been making videos for 20 years.
Oh my goodness! Congrats!
Whoa.
Happy anniversary!
Thank you. Yeah, there'll be when I started. I was 8 years old. So when it was wee little lad at that time, but a little kid just messing around with a webcam. But I was making videos before the idea of making videos for money was even a thing. But I didn't reach 10,000 subscribers until like a couple weeks ago. And I still make videos that sometimes rarely crack 100 views. All right. Like, if your idea of doing this is for views, fine, but don't expect that out the gate. And don't expect to be enjoying yourself if that's your goal. Because no one who does this for monetary success loves it. Anyone who does this for monetary success or a career goal, they do it explicitly because they're trying to game a system or because they got lucky, like a Markiplier or something. He just happened to win. I don't know what the hell. He just won. He just won.
Right.
He's like a good person and he is monetarily successful. It's insane. He's just won. But but yeah, that's the first thing. Set no expectations. 2, do it because you want to do it. If you want to read visual novels or narrate something, anything, do it because you want to, not because you saw someone else do it, not because you think it will get you somewhere, not because you think, whatever. Do it because you want to, because you think it'll be funny, because you think it would be cool to share it with your friend, because you think it'll be a fun time. Do it because you want to. Do it for those reasons. That's fine. Just don't do it because you think it'll get you something that you think will define something else, because that will be soulless to you. And lastly, be prepared to change your mind. Because if at any point you don't want to do this anymore, you need to be able to say that to yourself. At no point should you ever feel like you have to do something unless you're like literally by life circumstances being forced into it, like paying bills, for your water or some shit. I don't know. But if you're being made miserable by a hobby, don't keep doing the hobby. But if you're like trying to chase some arbitrary goal that you feel like has to come with success, then feel like you can walk away from it. But if you're enjoying it and you feel like you have to come with a goal with that, remember that you can do it just to enjoy it. And that can be all. That can be it. That can just be all. And when it comes to just being a narrator, a lot of people focus on voices. I can do all kinds of crazy voices. That's not the most important thing. The most important thing when you're being a narrator is acting. It's called voice acting. The only reason it's called voice acting is because you're not seen doing it. Has nothing to do with having a crazy range of voices. If you can emote, if you can tell a story that's believable and convey some sort of believability in what you're trying to carry to the audience, how you feel, what you're trying to express, that's the most important fucking thing. Doesn't really even fucking matter what voice you're doing. That's the most important thing when it comes to narrating. That's my biggest piece of advice for beginning narrators. Sorry that took so long.
It's very important to know. Like so many things are like, yes, I want to say that. Especially the part about like not setting the expectations, because even every series I start, even after 4 or so years, it's like I'll look at like Adastra episode 1 compared to Adastra episode 17 and go, woof, episode 1 is rough compared to the last episode. Or well, obviously Tennessee is the big example of that from beginning to now. But yeah, every single series, even if I started it in 2022, I'll look at like episode 1 of like, well, we just didn't remember the followers. I'm trying to think of something more old in that time, but yeah, I'll just use something from like, yeah, even Arches episode 1, I was like a little bit rough on. There will be sometimes when I look at that and go like, telling the age of what was I doing particularly back then, like, oh, I had the face cam on, oh, I only did this. Like, you'll see little nuances and go, hey, I did some changes in there. You know, that's the thing. Like, people can get very tunneled vision of this is what I need to be now. But yeah, you got to look at yourself and say, hey, I'm just doing it, you know, for myself. And it's just not a battle, but it's just a journey for yourself. Yeah. Do not compare yourself to like the 10,000 sub, 100,000, whatever sub person. Like, it is your own path, your own system. And yeah, some people will win that lottery and not everybody does. And whatever happens, you do, you don't. You just got to trek along and be your best self.
Yeah.
So yeah, well put, Viv.
It was never compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel.
Good one.
Marshmallow Bears.
Oh God, I don't even know if I have anything to add to this. No, you guys are great. You guys fucking nailed it. Gosh. I don't know. Make sure you're doing it for you. Is this what you want to be doing? Is this like Viv said, if you want to get out of it, get out of it.
It's okay to still question yourself too, right?
Yeah.
I still question myself, like, do I still want to do this? What do I want to change? That's okay. It doesn't have to be the end all be all. And even if you walk away, you can always come back.
Yeah. You know, one of the most, I'm sorry to cut in here, but one of the most comforting ideas that I keep going back to is the idea of the 90-year-old grandma graduating from college. Because people always write off elderly people as, well, they're just done. They're done with life. They chose their path. They finished. They clearly already did what they wanted to do. Now they're just waiting to die. Like, that's it. Well, no. No person is done until they're dead, pretty much. And it's never too late to decide to do a thing. And literally, there are people throughout their entire lives who will be like, you know what? I feel like doing this now. Or I'm done doing that shit. Fuck that thing. I'm done with it. I'm moving on now. Or in less blunt terms, of course, but you get tired of one thing, you want to move on to another thing, or you just get inspired and you want to finish that thing, or you just have a passion that you want to pursue. It's never too late. There are 90-year-olds, people who would expect to be at death's door, too tired, too done with life. No, those people still pursuing education, career opportunities because they want to do it. They're not done with their lives. What are you? Some people in my analytics between 18 and 24 is my biggest audience. Are you really going to say that at that age you're done? You've settled in? You've made your final career choice? You can't choose something else? Meanwhile, 90-year-old grandma's getting her fucking bachelor's degree in economics. You're going to say that she can change her life's path, but you're settled in?
Try a new hobby, had something else. Like, honestly, I started getting into gaming again, and I really hadn't, gotten into that in like a decade or two. And I was like thinking, I'm never gonna do this again. And then I just was like, hey, I'm back to gaming. Things like that. Like even if you leave it for a while, like it's just life is a continuing story.
Never too late to start. It's never too late to leave. It's never too late to come back. You can start, quit, come back, or be gone with whatever the hell. It's your life. You can choose. So, and I choose to let Fallen actually answer this question. So
Never too late.
It's never too late for you, Fallen, to choose to answer this question.
I don't really feel like I have any good advice.
Come on. Come on.
I don't.
Come on.
I'm a little tiny YouTuber. I don't really have. I don't feel like I have good advice.
I mean, you might have some of the best advice then for people in similar boats.
I mean, because I feel like everybody's pretty much said the basic the basic things. Make sure you're doing something you enjoy. You don't have to. I mean, if you're specifically going for furry visual novels, I mean, just do what you enjoy. It doesn't always have to be what everyone else enjoys. I mean, I do a lot of. I know on my chat, my little small channel on I do a lot of the VNs I do, nobody else does. But I do them because I enjoy them, or there was something in them that interested me. Like Familiar Travels, I think I'm the only person that out of our group that did it, and I was just because I enjoyed it, and I was like, hey, I want to do this. Or
it's all the things that got me interested in your channel too. I was like, oh, you're doing Familiar Travels. That's neat.
And that was I mean, do what you enjoy. You don't have to. Don't feel like you're stuck in a bubble having to do Dastra's been a long time, but for example, if you don't want to do a Dastra, you don't have to do a Dastra. So many people have done it, so it's not like you have to do it. I mean, just do VNs you enjoy and be willing to try a mix of visual novels. Like you might think you might not like something, a different genre, but you might be surprised.
Yeah.
And also, it might be a good idea to make sure, if you're not sure about the visual novel, playing it beforehand, so you don't end up having content that might not be suitable for YouTube.
That's a good piece of advice. Yeah, that's
really good.
Yeah.
Or at least ask people around, like, hey, do you know that maybe I've already played it? Hey, do you know if anything's coming up, so you can get a heads up? Because you don't want to have your channel die before it even starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, there needs to be like a Does the Dog Die, but for visual novels.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody's heard of that.
I think that's the biggest thing. I think that's the biggest thing. Just do what you enjoy. I mean, like I said, even if you want to do visual novels, I still feel like sometimes people forget that you still have to do what you enjoy, even with visual novels. If you don't enjoy a certain visual novel, you don't have to play it. There's plenty of visual novels out there that I played and I didn't care for, and I did other things. Like I watch other people play them, and I play the ones I want to play.
If you are someone who is playing visual novels, but find yourself in a need to diversify, taking that as an opportunity to become more creative with your platform. Departing from the genre in a limited sense does not mean that it's the end of all content creation. It is an opening to further content creation in other aspects.
I mean, that's what I literally did this year. I went from just VNs to doing gaming and variety on Twitch.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even just VNs too. I do a bunch of other stuff.
Exactly.
I will give this piece of advice. It's not just for VN stuff, but it's for streaming and content creation in general. If you are thinking of putting a viewer count total in the corner of your screen, do not do that.
Fuck. I need to delete that.
That is the worst thing for me, because it terrorized me. I recently deleted that because the only thing I could do while I was streaming was stare at that viewer count total. You need, when you are streaming and doing content creation, you need to be learning how to be entertaining at 0 viewers is incredibly useful, because if you do manage to get big, like really big, and I mean that chat is scrolling at 5,000 miles per hour, you are basically chatting with nobody. So learning how to bounce off of yourself or the few people that are in your chat is incredibly important. And yeah, just delete that viewer total, because it is going to drive you crazy. And because if you're on a roll and you see that drop, it's, at least to me, it makes me feel like I'm failing, even though I am on a roll. So yeah, just don't put that in the corner of your screen. It was the bane of my existence, and that was a cause of some of my burnout too, because it's just like, man, I am just failing to like entertain people, and it's like, no, that's viewer count isn't everything.
There's a lot of things going on too that are outside of your control. Something happens, somebody else does a stream, or something, happens where people can't come. Like, there's so many bajillion factors.
Yeah, it's like that one person leaving might not have been because of you. It might have been because, I don't know, their pizza was ready.
Yeah. They might have to go to class or something. I've had some people like say that, like, oh, I gotta do a test. I'm like, good luck. Like, that's the fun part. Like, yeah, if you don't see the viewer and they just say it in the comments or whatever, you're just like, you make a personal connection. Like, yeah, do your thing.